Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, your mind racing with 1,000 thoughts, unable to find peace? It's like a never-ending loop where you're constantly worrying about the future, replaying past conversations, or overthinking every little decision. It can feel overwhelming, like you're stuck in a mental maze with no way out. Maybe you've even found yourself anxious about things you can't control, unsure of what to do next, or fearing the worst outcome in every situation. Overthinking doesn't just make us tired, it steals our peace and clouds our judgment. For many of us, this is a familiar battle. We tell ourselves we'll stop worrying, but somehow the thoughts keep coming, one after another. And the more we think, the worse it gets. The pressure builds, and before we know it, we've turned something small into a mountain. But what if I told you that there's a way to find peace in the midst of all these swirling thoughts? A way to break free from the endless cycle of worry and overthinking? And the answer isn't something complicated, it's right there in the wisdom of Islam. Islam offers us powerful tools to overcome overthinking and find inner peace. These aren't just quick fixes, but timeless principles that can help us regain control over our minds and hearts. The first step is realizing that overthinking is not just a mental problem, but a spiritual one. When we get lost in our thoughts, we often forget to put our trust in Allah, the one who controls everything. We forget that He has a plan for us, that He knows what is best for us, and that we don't have to figure everything out on our own. Instead of relying on our own limited understanding, Islam teaches us to turn to Allah for guidance and relief. When we feel overwhelmed by the weight of our thoughts, we are reminded in the Quran that with hardship comes ease. This powerful verse offers hope, showing us that even in the midst of our struggles, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It reminds us that the struggles we face are temporary, and there is always ease after difficulty. This is where the real healing begins. Through trusting Allah and realizing that our worries are in His hands. It's not about having all the answers or controlling every aspect of our lives, but about surrendering to Allah's wisdom and timing. As we dive into the Islamic cure for overthinking, we will explore simple but transformative practices that can help quiet the mind and restore peace to the heart. These practices have been passed down through generations, offering us a direct connection to Allah. The first of these remedies is dua, supplication. When we are struggling with overthinking, turning to Allah in prayer is not just an act of worship. It's a way to release the burden of our worries and place our trust in the one who knows best. And when Ahmed first started feeling the weight of his endless thoughts, he felt powerless. His mind would race at night, keeping him up as he worried about his future, his relationships, and his responsibilities. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't stop the cycle of overthinking. But then, he remembered something his mother had always told him. When in doubt, turn to Allah. So he decided to give it a try. Ahmed took a moment to sit down quietly and began to make dua, asking Allah for relief from his worries. At first it felt strange, almost like he wasn't doing enough to solve his problems. But as he continued to pray, he began to feel a sense of calm that he hadn't felt in weeks. He realized that by asking Allah for help, he wasn't just praying for a solution. He was surrendering his worries to the one who holds the power over everything. And in that moment, he understood. Making dua wasn't just about asking for answers. It was about finding peace in knowing that Allah is always with him, guiding him through every challenge. In the Quran, Allah tells us, "Call upon me, I will respond to you." Quran 40:60. This verse is a reminder that Allah is always ready to listen, and when we turn to Him with sincerity, He responds with mercy and guidance. For Ahmed, making dua became his first step toward peace. It wasn't a quick fix, but it was a powerful way to release the mental burden of overthinking. Through dua, Ahmed started to find clarity in the midst of his worries. Every time he felt overwhelmed, he would turn to Allah and seek His help, and little by little, he felt the weight lifting off his shoulders. But Ahmed's journey didn't stop there. As he continued making dua, he realized that part of the reason he was overthinking so much was because he was trying to control everything. He felt like he had to figure out every detail of his life on his own, and that pressure was causing him to spiral. But Islam teaches us something crucial: tawakkul, or trust in Allah. We don't have to figure everything out by ourselves. Allah has a plan for us, and our job is to trust that He knows what's best, even when we don't have all the answers. Ahmed started to reflect on the story of the Prophet Ibrahim, as, who, when commanded by Allah to sacrifice his son, Ismail, as, didn't hesitate. Despite the unimaginable difficulty of the task, Ibrahim, as, trusted in Allah's wisdom, knowing that Allah would never command him to do something without a greater purpose. This deep trust in Allah, even in the face of hardship, is what allowed Ibrahim, as, to remain calm and steadfast, knowing that whatever happened, Allah's plan was always for the best. For Ahmed, this story became a powerful reminder. When he found himself overthinking, he would remind himself of the importance of tawakkul. Instead of worrying about every outcome, he would place his trust in Allah's plan and focus on doing his best in the moment. With every step, he felt more at peace, knowing that his worries weren't his to carry alone. Trusting in Allah gave him the strength to face whatever came his way, without being consumed by overthinking. And with that trust, Ahmed began to feel more at ease. He no longer had to control everything, and that relief allowed him to focus on what truly mattered. His worries didn't vanish overnight, but with dua and trust in Allah's plan, Ahmed found the strength to move forward, one step at a time, without being paralyzed by overthinking. This was just the beginning of his journey to inner peace. As Ahmed continued to practice dua and place his trust in Allah, he noticed that another important change began to take place. His thoughts, though still present, weren't as overwhelming as before. The constant rush of anxiety that clouded his mind slowly started to fade. But there was something else he needed to do, a practice that would not only calm his thoughts, but bring peace to his heart. Remembrance of Allah, or Dhikr. Ahmed remembered a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, where he said, "The hearts find rest in the remembrance of Allah." This simple yet profound statement made sense to him. Every time he felt his mind spiraling into worry or doubt, he began to engage in dhikr, repeating phrases like Subhanallah, glory be to Allah, Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah, and Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. He didn't just say them mechanically, he said them with purpose, with the intention to quiet his mind and reconnect with Allah. At first it wasn't easy. His mind would wander, and he would find himself lost in thoughts again. But over time, he started to notice a shift. Each time he recited dhikr, his heart felt lighter. His mind began to clear. With every repetition, he felt more at peace, like a calm was settling within him, pushing aside the storm of overthinking. It was like finding a sanctuary in the middle of his busy, chaotic mind. The act of remembrance helped him focus not on the problems or worries, but on the greatness of Allah, on the mercy and blessings that surrounded him. The beauty of dhikr is that it's not just words, it's a reminder that Allah is always near, that we are never alone in our struggles. The Quran says, "Indeed, with the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest." Quran 13:28. When we make dhikr, we are acknowledging the presence of Allah in our lives and submitting ourselves to His will. It reminds us that He is the source of peace, and by turning to Him, we can find calm amidst the chaos of our thoughts. For Ahmed, this practice became a daily habit. Whether he was walking to class, sitting at his desk, or lying in bed, he made time for dhikr whenever he could. It was no longer just a tool to quiet his mind. It became a way of life, a constant reminder that his worries were in Allah's hands. With dua, tawakkul, and dhikr, Ahmed felt a profound shift in his ability to manage overthinking. He was no longer ruled by his thoughts. Instead of constantly searching for answers or trying to control every outcome, he began to feel a sense of peace that came from knowing that whatever happened, he was in Allah's care. His heart was lighter and his mind clearer. No longer did overthinking hold him captive. Through these simple yet powerful practices, Ahmed learned the true cure for his overthinking, a deep connection with Allah that brought him peace, trust, and the strength to move forward without fear. As Ahmed embraced the practices of dua, tawakkul, and dhikr, he began to experience a profound change in his life. Over time, the constant chatter of overthinking started to fade. But what he didn't expect was how these practices not only calmed his mind, but also brought him closer to Allah. His life, once filled with the noise of endless worries, now felt more centered and purposeful. Ahmed learned that the key to overcoming overthinking wasn't simply about stopping the thoughts, but about redirecting his heart and mind towards Allah. One evening, as Ahmed sat in his room, he reflected on how far he had come. The peace he now felt was a result of consistent effort, a reminder of the beauty of relying on Allah. He remembered the struggles he had faced just a few months ago, when overthinking would keep him awake, constantly burdened by fear of what might happen. But now, through trusting in Allah's plan, seeking His guidance, and engaging in His remembrance, he had learned to accept uncertainty. He realized that overthinking often stems from fear, the fear of making the wrong choice, fear of failure, fear of the future. But by putting his trust in Allah, Ahmed understood that he didn't need to control everything. Allah had already written his story, and all he needed to do was take the necessary steps with sincerity and trust. If things didn't go as planned, it wasn't a failure. It was simply a part of Allah's greater plan for him. The fear of uncertainty that once consumed him had been replaced by a deep trust that no matter what happened, everything would be okay. Ahmed also understood that overthinking could not only impact his mental peace, but also his relationship with Allah. When we let our thoughts consume us, we often forget to focus on what truly matters: our worship, our purpose in life, and our connection with Allah. Ahmed now made a conscious effort to stay focused on his purpose, whether it was in prayer, in seeking knowledge, or in his everyday actions. By placing Allah at the center of his life, everything else fell into place. His worries didn't disappear, but they no longer held the power to control him. Through these Islamic practices, Ahmed found more than just a cure for overthinking. He found a deeper sense of peace, a sense of security in knowing that Allah is always with him. This wasn't just about overcoming mental struggles. It was about transforming his entire approach to life. Ahmed now realized that the true cure for overthinking is faith. Faith that Allah has a plan. Faith that our worries are not burdens we must carry alone. And faith that with every prayer, dua, and moment of remembrance, we are drawing closer to Allah's mercy and peace. And as he continued his journey, Ahmed knew that whenever overthinking crept back into his mind, he had the tools to quiet it. He had the power to turn to Allah, to trust Him, and to find peace in His remembrance. This was just the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one filled with faith, trust, and the inner peace that comes from knowing that, with Allah, everything will be okay.